don't see Zach.
Yeah. But more importantly, those two guys in the audience, they said that Sung Caster, the head guy on the side of the Korean side, is really handsome. And they actually received a gift from him, a small coffee, or actually that's a hot 6. Threw it from the caster
desk.
That's
like the literally community chess in Monopoly where you win a beauty contest. Like, here you go. Have $10 for being so beautiful.
Yeah. Pick up that hot 6 on your way past go. And look at that. Kramer's really focusing on the Xayah. This is the second game in a row. It had its moment. The Xayah, we used to see it a lot for about a week or two, and then players began to realize, oh, we can just sidestep the feathers and it's not all that impressive. But Afrika's still one of the only teams to really put the pressure and always pick that Xayah.
Yeah, I'm curious as to why this Xayah has been seeing so much priority. Kramer was great on the Ashe. Ashe is still quite viable, and instead, BBQ respond with Kog'Maw Braum, so already they have a win condition in their first pick, which is super impressive. Instead, it's not going to be the Braum, it will be the Rek'Sai locked in. Perhaps making Tucson consider going for a Braum himself, threatening. You know, you let that linger in as late as possible, and you tell the opposition, hey, think about this composition. Oh, you don't want to see Kog'Maw Braum now, do you? Are you going to pick it? You should pick it because you don't want to see it. And it's those mind games that you can create, which are always fun. But the reality of it is that it's probably just say, oh, actually, we forgot about Rek'Sai. Give me the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, definitely liking to play that Rek'Sai. Bless was one of those guys who always used to play the old Rek'Sai when it was a bit less popular, more of a global presence rather than a fighter, melee fighter. And it ends up they're still going to pick up that Braum, or at least they're hovering it, as Xayah Rakan will come into the bot lane for Afrika.
It would make no sense not to lock away this Braum. It's great into Gragas. It has fantastic synergy with the Kog'Maw already. And sure, Rek'Sai and Braum together isn't the best jungle support synergy, but it's still quite good. And it'll guarantee you having a good late game and having good defensive tools to what Mowgli is going to try to do in the jungle. He only had one game of Rek'Sai previously, and now you put him here, match point against BBQ. If his barrels are not on point, that Kog'Maw will not die.
Very, very true. So already nice protection for that Kog'Maw. We'll see some bans come through for the second phase. Rumble being targeted here. Don't want to hand that over to Marin in the top lane. Even with the Jarvan still available. I mean, Marin's Jarvan is pretty ridiculous. He's really made this champion into his own over the last 2-3 weeks. So would expect them to pick that up for him if it's available again.
But as a Kog'Maw, when you have Braum, it's a lot easier for you to deal with the Jarvan than it is to deal with the Rumble. The Rumble can cook you up from far away. There's no commitment in that play, and you're guaranteed to have to move out. Whereas if you're Kog and you have a Braum, you're going to reach a point in the game where you can just stand and deliver. Jarvan will not have enough damage to kill you on the spot. And when you have Braum there, you proc the stun, and you can easily delete him in your face as he basically so graciously does he gift himself onto the Cataclysm with Kog'Maw.
Yeah, and it's not going to be a Jarvan ban just yet. Picking out that Corki. What will be the final ban here from Afrika? Still 10 seconds left. It is going to be the LeBlanc taken away from Tempt.
Curious takeaway there. Not sure what they saw in the intent going off with that pick, but he would have had the opportunity to go for a last rotation LeBlanc. So they're not trying to risk it. And in the end, BBQ could choose to go with one of my at least personal favorite compositions, which is what they're going for. It's not a full-on protected Kog'Maw. It's an early game composition that just happens to have a Kog'Maw.
I mean, players began to realize that Kog'Maw, you know, if you have a good front line, it's really good. But in general, it's a late game winning. What's the word? Like a winning condition. Win condition. That's what I'm looking for. So just having it there, farming in the bottom lane. You have a good front line in general, and I think it's a pretty good composition so far. Still waiting on that mid laner for BBQ. Looks like Kuro going to go with that blind pick Orianna that we see all too often.
And here is Jarvan. It's got to be Jarvan from Mara. It could be Kled. Could also work into the Kog'Maw, but for the most part, you know this is the combo they have to call out if they want to deal with the Kog'Maw. So it's a good idea what Africa have so far, but it's going to come down to laning phase. Can they get past laning phase? Because you already have Jarvan into Renekton. Not a positive matchup. You're going to have a possible Gallia mid lane. And scratch that early game composition. You now have the Gallia to guarantee yourself full access to Kog'Maw's life in late game. He's going to be so beefy. There's going to be a locket on him. There's going to be Knight's Vows.
Pretty much everything a Kog'Maw, a little Pugmaw, I hope, Crumbs, could hope for. And you were talking about the early game. The Rek'Sai and the Renekton are going to be quite nice for that. You have Gallia once he hits 6 to help out with any pressure that you're feeling in the side lanes. And it's a very defensive comp. We'll see what they can do towards that late game.
Oh no, I love what BBQ have drafted here so far. The pressure that they have on temp can mean that they can accelerate the game any way that they want. And so Africa are also going to be on the defensive tail end this time around, because Kog'Maw Braum can get out of control. When you hit that level 6, the ultimate on Kog'Maw, the living artillery, does so much damage that can sway your 2v2s significantly. And when you have Gragas in the jungle matchup against Rek'Sai, once again a strong early game jungler, you do inadvertently concede some pressure in your lanes. That can start a snowball from BBQ that we have seen them be very capable of snowballing quickly.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that this Xayah does something for Kramer down in the bot lane. We've seen Rakan work with a lot of other picks, but Kramer seems very, very comfortable on this Xayah. I'm not sure if it's a team decision or if it's just a comfort bit for Kramer, but either way, I want him to prove it here in game number 2.
I'm just happy we see the lovers bottom lane back together. They're meant for each other. What was he thinking with that other...
The blue lady?
Oh, I can't say that word. I was going to say... That farming tool, what was she doing with that?
Exactly. Well, no Pugmaw this time around, guys, so I'm a little bit disappointed. But either way, we are going to be jumping into game number 2. We'll see if Africa can bring it back. A little bit of shenanigans in the level 1 as Totoro is playing with fire right now. He's got that big shield. We'll see if that helps him out.
The shield is literally absorbing fire, so I think he's okay.
He'll be okay for now.
It's like the door to hell.
Who is that on the front? Is that Lucifer? Is that Satan? Looks like one of those, it looks like from Maokai's skin.
It's a dragon, because it's dragon-born Braum. That's why he deals with fire.
I see. New Game of Thrones episode came out. I know you're not going to be watching that one,
I am not going to be watching Game of Thrones, my friend. I saw 5 seasons. They killed everyone I liked. And they focused on people I didn't like anymore. I was like, I'm done. Enough.
You gotta appreciate someone who knows what they want, knows what they like. I like that about you, Crumbs.
I know that Jon Snow is not for me. Same with Daenerys Targaryen.
Mm-hmm. We should probably stop talking about Game of Thrones. As Twitch is going to ban us from the internet if we go any further.
Really?
It's the show that people are most hurt about when they get spoiled from.
Oh, I didn't know pain wasn't a real part of life. Sorry, people. Whoops. Whoopsies.
Wow. I see how it is, Crumbs. Don't care for other people's pain. Bless coming in here with the quick level 3. We'll see if they can make something work on Takuro. He's going to come out here before Tempt has his level 3 for his taunt. Or never mind, he does have his taunt. Doesn't have the Justice Punch. He's going to cleanse and flash, so they get both of the summoners out of him.
Good move there from Bless, knowing that they can chase and guarantee the summoners. Kuro can't be quick enough on the cleanse to guarantee not getting flash knocked up right away, so he has to burn both immediately, and Bless gets to save his own. So now Kuro has a big target on his head with both Tempt and Bless having flash, and the ability to repeat gank this lane is a good way, a good ticket to getting a snowball started. And here we go. Oh, it might just no. He's playing safe. Just wait for the wave.
Gonna take that big raptor as he waits. Meanwhile, Mowgli making his way top and crazy. He's got a big wave, but there's no ward coming in, and Marin can easily combo this. And here he goes. Crazy knows about it. Can he slice and dice immediately into the stun? The double slice and dice and the TP coming out will cancel that at the last second, but it saves Crazy's life.
That was so nice for BBQ. Crazy dashes out, and so many times do we usually see Gragas open up the gank with the body slam, and that's kind of what I expected to happen. Just open up with body slam. Don't let Renekton get even a chance at getting the stun off. But the teleport from Temp goes until the very last second, and Afrika have to commit to thinking, well, if we go through with this, there's a big minion wave, there's a Galio that can TP onto this, let's just back off and go for a repeat, and here we go.
Crazy. Now he still does have his flash, but look at how aggressive he's playing. He's slicing and dicing into the flash. He's gonna get away again. And pings are going down. Kuro's coming in, but he's in trouble. The flash coming forward and into the stun, and Bless even making his way over. That's gonna be first blood. Given over to Tempt. What a play.
This man's a genius. He's unleashed. He's off the chains. Can you believe that he gets ganked the first time around, casually dodges it out with the help of his team, and now with a sick reverse dodge, dodges into the team, finds his way onto the first blood.
What just mental presence to have, and calmness to just sit there and say, okay, I know exactly what's going on. Hold that thought, though. Bottom lane goes in a lot of trouble here. The exhaust does come down. Rakan trying to finish him off, but there's the heal. Is going to come out. Just force that, at least, but in the end, he does get away.
Yeah, Oriana's like, hey guys, I thought you were ganking top. Why am I dead?
That's not the way I envisioned this happening.
And now Bless has his own flash up again. Actually, Kuro's going to have cleanse back up, so unfortunately there is no other opportunity to go into mid lane again. I'm always a big proponent to repeat ganking members that don't have flash. You start tilt. It's a mental warfare. It's a mental game. You got to use tilt to your advantage. Not utilizing the fact that you can tilt somebody else is not using every advantage that you have at your disposal.
Well, we're going to get another look at this. I love this play. He sees Mowgli the instant he does. Just an instant decision to slice and dice, flash, slice and dice again, and then Kuro's like, oh, I'm going to go kill him. Doesn't even have a lot of mana.
He knows that he can always go for that escape route. If you play enough champions that have dodge abilities into the top lane, you always practice flashing over that wall in case you're too overextended and can find another avenue to escape. And it was just coincidence that Kuro also made his way from top into mid lane to meet the Renekton for a kill.
Now Crazy's picked up that one assist. Renekton always a lane bully. And look at this giant wave that's here. We also got a level 6 Galio. They could look for a play.
Oh, Kuro, you are in trouble, my friend. Look at that, the two-pronged attack. They're waiting for him, but Mowgli spots it out. Wait, he's out of the brush. That's like Aurelian's soul hiding in a brush.
He's trying to be a statue, like a gargoyle statue. He's like, I'm not here. You can't see me. You're just drunk. Go away, Gragas.
I wish that could be the case. He's just drunk, though.
Imagine if when you played Gragas and you drink too much, he has like hallucinations.
Listen, I haven't been streaming in a while, okay? For you to even say something like that.
Oh, man. That would be a pretty crazy game mechanic, though. Just like hallucinate champions. You're like, I don't know if it's real. You got to rely on your teammates to really know.
And Marin's going to rely on his own life as he's getting 3-manned.
Yeah, I mean, this is 1-on-3. What can he do? Nice double knock-up, but does get stunned. The Cataclysm coming in. Is there enough damage? Doesn't look like it. And Marin is going to survive.
This guy knows the limits of his champion so well. Still did not burn his flash on that one, so confidently can go into that situation and gets to go back onto the lane. He's like, oh, actually, I'm just going to catch this minion, but he's going to die here.
Okay, TP coming in as Bless tries to steal the blue, but let's take a look up at top. We got to see how that's going to go. The flash here right after the stun, so he does at least have to lose his flash.
But he doesn't have teleport, so he's going to miss out on a lot if they can stall out these recalls. Instead, they will not go for it. They'll just go for some jungle denial here. They still have Smite, and on the contrary side, BBQ gets their own Gromp, so double Gromp. Gromp double kill for BBQ.
What a play.
If both Gromps die simultaneously, Gromps are permanently removed from the game. There was none left to reproduce.
That's what the game would be like if a bunch of drunk people balanced the game. Like a bunch of Gragas's. Maybe he would make the changes that we're suggesting. Would be a weird game if that did exist. You can see that even though BBQ is getting a lot of advantages in the mid lane and in the top lane, Mowgli's not really creating much anywhere else. He's tried top a bunch of times, but he hasn't really... He did kind of stop a gank in the mid lane that one time by finding Tempt, but he hasn't made anything happen bottom. Bottom lane is going really even right now, and Marin's going to get bullied again. There's going to be the unburrow, and this time he doesn't have flash. He's in a ton of trouble. There's the Void Rush, doesn't even need it, and Crazy is going to pick up that one.
He's going to have teleport, but this could be the first brick going over to Afrika. That's a red buff onto the Rex side. So much damage onto this side that Afrika is forced to respond with a dragon themselves. Pings are going out, so yes, that will be that first brick going over to BBQ and to the two members that have been punishing Marin so heavily.
And Kramer's going to be just fine with his Feather Storm, and yeah, going to trade that first blood for the dragon. And man, this Renekton is getting really scary. We'll see what he can do as we get later in the game. This early game champion you were talking about is getting off the chain at this point.
So teleport coming out. Mowgli is no mana. He's dead.
Oh boy, here we go. Crazy coming in. There's the flash taunt. The shockwave is not going to work, but the grand entrance from Tushin might save everyone's life. The cleanse is going to be used here. Afrika is on the run. Ghost looking for that slow. It's not going to be enough. There's the speed up though, and the double knock up there from Bless. They're looking for more. There's a bouncy hounds just for our boy Mowgli, and down he will go.
That jungle does not belong to him. It's time to hand that book right back to the library because the blue buff was also BBQ's, and they did not give it up for free. They immediately collapsed, and now they're shooting over for a tier 1 into the mid lane. They're gonna be able to get this with the red before Rihanna's gonna be too far. The damage from Tempt is already there, and we're gonna look at that fight once again. The teleport comes out. The second they commit to it, they know there's not enough mana. Tempt is flanking from the left, and even though the flash comes out right away, it's a great sidestep, but such a big fault in communication that Shockwave as well as the flash from Mogi came out at the same time. So Shockwave gets botched, and immediately they have to run away. On the bottom side of the corner, we know that the turret did not go down or reanimate it in time, but in the end they commit the heroic entrance to secure the kill, and more flashes keep the rest of Afrika alive.
It was basically the Tushin show as he tried to help everybody on his team escape, but couldn't do enough. Couldn't save his boy from the Jungle Book.
But you know how sad this is? That Afrika gives us hope. They 2-0 SKT, they beat Rocks Tigers, which isn't much to say, but they won. So they're on kind of a win, so we're like, okay, consistency might be here. Chris is probably going to be able to get out of this one, though, although he does not have flash.
He's going to be knocked up now, so waiting for that Cataclysm. Meanwhile, the slow coming down here onto Kramer. Can he get that stun? There it is. The Crazy, he makes it away. He just goes the opposite way, and that's, what is that, the third time? Second or third time that Mowgli's gone top and a failed gank over and over in the same exact way out of this Gragas.
And it's the vision that he has. He sees Gragas coming from river. He sees the control ward with Orianna, so he's capable of dodging out quite easily out of any attempt that Afrika throws their way, which, again, the inconsistencies of Afrika. We thought that this team, this match could be the one we're thinking, finally, they're getting back on track. Surely they wouldn't struggle against a team that is lower in the standings that they are, but that has not been the case. It has been BBQ just dancing all over.
Team inconsistency strikes again, and well, they're going to go for a play here onto Tempt, who has a lot of MR, but that's about it. But you can see he's still so tanky. The cask is going to come out. Can he actually make his way out? The answer is no, as finally Afrika puts a score on the board.
That's what they have to do. They need to commit 3 people to every play that they go for, and unfortunately, they have been trying to kill Crazy this entire time, but he's on fire. He's got the vision, he's been playing smartly, so he's not getting himself caught, and this first kill onto Temp might just mean that now they're going to continue to focus the mid lane. It is a window for them to go for kills over and over. If Marin and Mowgli make their way back onto mid, they can get more kills, but some fight action bottom.
Okay, we got that Glacial Fissure. Tushin getting extremely low. Here comes the TP in. Looks like it's going to be Tempt making his way down. One more hit will do it onto Tushin, but he can't get close enough. And Tempt can't even get close enough to Kramer, so Afrika will survive in the bot lane.
So close do they not give up their lives. One more auto attack, one more anything. A fly had landed on Tushin at that moment, and he would have gone down. Instead, he survives, and so does Kramer. They do burn a lot of summoners, and the teleport from BBQ goes out as well. But Galio still has heroic entrance. But we've got ourselves a pretty action-packed team. Both these teams just want to kill each other non-stop.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see, and it's really cool to see BBQ finally having some success in this. I think it's, you know, we were talking about the inconsistency of Afrika, but definitely BBQ looking better as a team overall as well will add to their success. And a lot of plays towards the top side. They're really picking on Marin. I was talking about how Marin's definitely the key player from Afrika. Play around him and you can generally win. His Jarvan is pretty insane nowadays, but when you get Bless and Crazy and even Tempt on the Galio up top, like over and over and over and over again, it's kind of hard to play around that Jarvan who's getting camped.
Oh, and I just want to go on what we just saw right now. That I gotta say, you know, Mowgli is kind of new, and this is a big, big rookie mistake there from Mowgli. There's a teleport coming out bottom. That's a Renekton in here. Yeah, Renekton's coming in. The TP, though, from Marin as well. And Crazy is going to be knocked up. The heroic entrance should be able to save his life. There's that big life steal. Can he go down? No! The taunt is going to save his life. They get Mowgli. Marin is on the chase, though. Will pick up that Croc. And now we got a very disjointed fight. So they're on the chase here for Marin. They do land that Winter's Bite, and that should be the end of this guy. A couple of hits will do it with the taunt and the stun. Nice shockwave, but no follow-up damage. And the rest of Afrika will look to get away. There's the Void Rush, though, getting onto Tushin. Grand Entrance, gonna knock him up. Can they get any more? Kramer and Kuro thinking about turning around. Looks like this fight will end here. And it all started with Mowgli going for a ward, but he did not check the minion wave. He placed a ward as soon as the minion wave was coming, so immediately goes like, oh, I won't be here. I don't want to get TP'd on, so he backs away, so the gank gets spelled out immediately. The rest of BBQ has more than enough time to respond, and so they find a way to turn the gank around instead of what should have been a lot of kills going to Afrika, and maybe even a tower that actually it did go. No, it did not. I don't believe it went down their way. Not entirely sure, but that ward was the one that gave it all away. Tora gets a collapse, and immediately Mowgli has to burn his own flash to survive. Uses his smite to stay on this, but Renekton is already here. Everybody's trying to make their way down into the bottom side of it. Lucky for him, that final body slam ends up buying enough time with a good pass onto Crazy that it has to be Marin committing all the way till the end to try to get the Renekton, but he pays with his own life.
Yeah, ends up being very favorable for BBQ, and now they're looking to pick up their own Drake down in the bottom lane. Or rather, down towards the bottom side of the map, I should say. It's going to be an Ocean Drake for BBQ. The laning phase is kind of ending at this point. I mean, we got the bottom lane turret for BBQ down. We got the top lane one for Afrika down. Already the Rift Herald is going to be focused here by Afrika. This is spotted by BBQ. Doesn't look like they want to make a play. They want to take out turrets instead.
They just want to get gold. They're not in position to contest that Herald by any margin as they traded that Dragon instead. So they're well aware of this situation, and now it's going to be up to Afrika to make the most out of this Herald. And it's just a trade that you can visualize it as if it was a Dragon, whereas BBQ want immediate gold. They want an advantage that is tangible that they can utilize right away, as opposed to a Herald that you're not entirely sure what it can offer.
Look at this Crazy going man mode. He's got Tempt to back him up here. Taunt comes down, but again, this is 2v3. Maybe they went a little bit too far as the Croc is going to be taken out. Meanwhile, though, that was 5 members of Afrika up in top lane. We still got BBQ pushing bot.
And you want to give him credit for that one because they're going to be able to take a tier 2, but not this time around, as Crazy's getting a little too hypey with these evasive moves early on. Tries to fight the 2v2 in the bot side, but Xayah and Rakan are too slippery that a Renekton and Galio, as soon as the initial combo does not connect, as Galio's Q did not hit, they had no chance of actually turning that one around. And Kramer still had his own flash, so there was plenty more that they could have thrown at the Renekton and Galio if they truly were in danger.
Oh, we kind of got an awkward position right now for BBQ. Bless was doing the doubles down in the bottom side. Looks like he should be able to get away with the burrow. Just waiting on that one, and out he does go. But meanwhile, we got this Rift Herald in mid lane, and BBQ's a little bit out of position, so it is going to be able to take this one out pretty easily.
BBQ's getting danced around a little bit. Afrika's finding a way back. Wait a minute.
Okay, Kuro forced to burn his flash. That Winter's Bite was so close to landing. The TP, though, coming in, and the Void Rush with the stun. And that is definitely going to be a dead Kuro. How much can they get, though, on the chase? The Shockwave is going to save him for a long time. He's still alive. Ghost still on the chase. He's forced the flash to pull that kill off. Not the cleanest one, to be honest.
They secured the kill, and now they have to teleport to try to kill Xayah. So in the end, Afrika seems to be the one that is assertive, that now BBQ continues to respond to what Afrika is doing. It's a good sign of life for them. They're still fighting, they're still kicking in this game. And even though they are up against a Kog'Maw that has Braum, that has a Galio to protect them, you can never count out Jarvan and Orianna, who right now, she's so important for BBQ to kill. They're focusing everything onto her, and while the Winter's Bite misses, Rek'Sai can now chase better than ever. She utilizes Void Rush, close the gap, but by this time, Ghost can pop over with the Blast Cone to get himself a kill onto the Afrika carry.
And down she goes. So this game definitely closer than it looks right now. I mean, definitely having that Kog'Maw at 3-0 at 20 minutes into this game is an incredibly scary thought for Afrika. But they do have a lot of tools to get on top of that Kog'Maw, as we were talking about before. It's really going to come down to the execution in the team fights. Can the Kog'Maw stay protected, or will Afrika open that muscle, that closed muscle that you were talking about before, and get to the back line?
TP.
Yeah, TP coming from the side. Kramer looking to do a bit of damage. Marin looking for that engage, but immediately Heroic Entrance is going to save this Kog'Maw for a really long time. The taunt is going to land on 4 people. Maybe that was even 5. And Bless coming in from behind, looking for that kill onto the Jarvan. Not able to pick it up. Tushin trying to run away at the same time. Mowgli going to get stunned by the Braum. Will anybody die in this fight? It doesn't look like it.
And look at how that engage comes out. The second that Jarvan can find a window onto Ghost, Galio ult. So there's no chance for anybody to follow through, because they are going to get knocked up as well. And engage onto Bless.
Oh boy, he saw that coming. He was trying to get out of there as he was looking for Marin, but he actually got himself into trouble.
And not respecting Marin. He has been able to best him when it came to ganking topside, but that doesn't mean that he's no longer capable of taking him out in nearly a one-shot. He had Orianna there to help him out, but to be real, Rek'Sai is never going to kill the Jarvan in this stage of the game. So he should have just been running away, especially with how squishy he is. Look at him. He's got a Titanic Hydra.
Yeah, interesting itemization. No Knight's Vow just yet.
A bit weird. So we're going to look at it again. The Q comes out, the dash comes out from Braum, and the Goo is out too, so they're thinking we can go engage onto this. He gets onto Kog'Maw, but there is no Orianna in range, and as soon as Temp comes out, you have to deal with a Galio immediately. That's a huge shockwave, and even though Tushin finds a way to hit Ghost with the Charm, there's not enough follow-up. The rest of BBQ is already dealing damage to the entirety of the team, so the engage gets pulled back, and it's only Bless who ends up giving a freebie, a donation. Hey guys, let's do this again.
Yeah, you got to be a bit more tanky to go for this one. I mean, he's trying to delay recalls, I suppose, but the second he gets into line of sight, they're like, oh, we can pick him up for an easy kill. And that they do.
Can never count out the Jarvan shield. It's so powerful these days.
Tempt really wanted that cannon. He's Crumbs' hero, not giving any free cannons.
That'll be a good game. Cannon Hero 3000, where all you're doing is last hitting minions a la Guitar Hero style. Left, right, left, right, left, right, QWR. Hit every minion.
Oh boy, look at this. Crazy in a ton of trouble. He is going to Dominus, but I mean, that's 1v4. And so he essentially just gets out of position and gives his life.
I love the lack of hesitation from Afrika. They see somebody there below everything that you need to get the kill. Ghost is now next to Marin, but there's not enough follow-up. He'll be crazy if he wants to take this fight.
Yeah, you can see it was Marin who wanted to get in there, but...
Oh, he will be crazy. Not that he, you know, it's an adjective too.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. It can get confusing with the names, but... Okay, we got...
You know, if you wanted to have the most confusing name, you know what will you pick?
Confusing?
Teammate. You name yourself teammate.
Or interesting?
No. You name yourself teammate because when it comes down to the other team making calls around you, kill teammate, kill teammate, and you're like, huh? What?
Who? Wait, which one? Would be an interesting world if everybody was trying to... I mean, you were talking about using tilt to get into your opponent's minds. What if they went as far as to name themselves some ridiculous IDs to try to confuse their opponents?
Absolutely. It's just that people have too much pride now and need to have names that actually have meaning and worth and a brand instead of just being an overall... I'm not gonna, God, I need to expand my vocabulary over swearing. I just know too many curse words. It's just so expressful.
Hanging out too much with the OGN guys at night, that's what's going on.
There's multiple.
There's multiple reasons, I'm sure. But there's actually a guy in poker who's very famous for being like a total like wonky weirdo. He just like does the craziest stuff in an attempt to tilt his opponents. And I mean, he has no
so what does he
pride,
do? So what does he do?
You know, he laughs at his opponents. He might have a really weak hand, and he acts like he's really strong by like hopping around like a monkey. It's really distracting, and it's definitely
hops around like a monkey.
Yeah, I've heard stuff like that. I don't actually know his name. I've heard the story though, but it's definitely not very sportsmanlike, obviously, and you can't do it in a video game. But the idea is still there, where he's essentially doing everything in his power to throw off his opponents.
Yeah, I thought competition was about using all that you've got, all that is allowed. That's why there is rules, right? You're supposed to fall within. Is it not in the rules? There you go. Then he can do it.
If it's in the rules, and I'm sure there's no rule against doing that, so he gets away with it. But still don't have any really tilting names, at least not in Korea, really. Outside of like expression, that tilts me.
Why?
Because it's supposed to be expression. He's expressing himself by naming himself Expression.
What's wrong with that?
It goes deeper and deeper. I don't know. It's just it's not what I enjoy, Crumbs. Not what I would have liked to see.
You would have just liked to see proper spelling.
Yeah.
Are you a grammar Nazi?
Not really. That's exactly the type of thing that a grammar Nazi would say.
Yeah.
Not most of the time.
Wait with a pause, period. Somehow find a way to use a semicolon in language.
Uh-oh, Mowgli. We were talking about this rookie. Gets out of position again. Does get flash, or has to flash, rather, over the wall.
And now we're reaching the lull where one team is perfectly okay with having the Kog'Maw just hit the late game, but they're not strong enough to fancy going into Baron side and control this side of the map as they are in the red side. And then you have Afrika who continues to scale, but always has the threat of having Gragas, Orianna, and Jarvan to just clean house. If Kog'Maw dies in these fights at this stage in the game, it's pretty much going to be an Afrika team fight win. Unless, obviously, Kog'Maw did a ton of damage beforehand, but you got to keep your eyes out on him as well as the Shockwave from Kuro. Those are going to be the biggest abilities when it comes down to these team fights.
Here we got some pings going down on Baron, as I thought they were actually starting that, but that would have been insane. Looking potentially to collapse as they see that Afrika is in the bush. Gonna throw down a ward just to make 100% sure. And it seems like that bottom lane, the two top lane guys, it's going pretty even, although Marin is 2 levels up on Crazy somehow. So definitely will be a bit of a problem.
He's been farming, he's been making his ways around the map, not teleporting to everything that moves, but what these teams should be doing at this stage in the game is thinking about scenarios of team fighting around the objectives that they're going to plan, how they want to take the fights out, who is going to peel and what, because they can be thinking, okay, it's going to be Rakan diving in with Jarvan, maybe the Gragas as well, and then they'll try to shockwave combo the shockwave onto this. All right, then what can we do to disrupt this combination? Then you can have Crazy say, well, I can go zone out the Orianna to try to minimize the distance at which shockwave can connect. Gallia says, I'm gonna ult instantly. Totoro, you save your unbreakable for every Gallia for the Gragas ult. There's nothing more important than that. And they think about how they're gonna pull these fights off, and that can hopefully translate into a more thought out fight. But here we go.
Yeah, the TP coming in from Galio, but look at that. Taking a ton of damage already is Bless. Up on the top side, the fight hasn't really officially begun just yet. But look at the positioning of Marin. He's all alone down there, and actually BBQ was thinking about chasing him for just a moment. They're going to start this Infernal Drake, funnily enough, even with Bless and Crazy a little bit low.
Marin's fine. This could be Afrika's big fight. They're looking for Ghost. Orianna needs to be in range of Shockwave.
Okay, they're trying to zone out Marin here. The Dragon is going to reset. Still down to about 1/3 health. It's getting incredibly low. BBQ still getting very low as a team. They're trying to burst this down. It is going to go over to BBQ, but the big knockup.
Oh!
The Shockwave is totally misses there as it only goes on to Kuro, and that is going to be the route as everybody from Afrika is on the run. Can they get a kill here? Bless is on the chase for Mowgli. Is even going to flash in. They're looking for this big time. The knockup comes in, hit the Void Rush, but with Marin coming over, he will survive.
It looked so good. The charm from Tucson was there, everything connected, but I think it was the wall from Totoro that actually saved everything from happening. I want to see that replay because that could have been the reason why the ball didn't connect. I got to see it again, but in the end, it was a huge whiff from Kuro on that shockwave. That could have been everything that Afrika wanted. Unfortunately, it results in 3 major flashes being blown from them. And only the Kog'Maw, actually only 2 members. Kog'Maw's no flash on him means that they can try this again, but Marin needs to be there. No more flanking Jarvan.
And no shockwave and no quickness. So they really got to rely on this. They're starting the Baron. I think that's a little bit too frisky. As now Temp's going to get out of position here. He's going to be locked down. Uh-oh, double knockup. Can they get on top of this Galio, who's extremely tanky? It looks like it. They're going to take out this Galio.
Oh, Tempt is too cool for school. Refuses to go with his entire team. Instead takes the long route. And it's going to be even longer than he expected, as his death is now a 40-second timer.
Oh, they're looking for the shockwave. They actually pick off Bless. That is a huge pick, as now 2 members of BBQ down, and Afrika is pushing the top lane.
That's Baron. They can just go straight to that objective now. It should be the play that they can go for now. They don't need to be thinking about breaking the base anytime soon. Just go for that objective. There is no smite. They can tank it forever. I might think we're going to have a game 3 at this point.
Yeah, BBQ really struggling when they're not miles ahead, and they don't have that Elise that's 4-0. Definitely Bless having a little bit of a harder time on this Rek'Sai, chasing a little bit too deep at times, not finding the kills. That will be the Baron going over to Afrika, and Marin's Jarvan scarier than ever.
Well, that's why I was surprised at the Galio pick. I thought that they would be going for a much more damage-oriented composition. The LeBlanc and the Orianna might have been the bans that came out. Don't actually remember that second rotation ban, but with the
Definitely
Galio
LeBlanc.
there, it's only the Kog'Maw that is the legitimate threat. And so as long as a couple of members are taken care of on the side of BBQ, Afrika can continue to just zone out Ghost or kill him, and as long as he's pressured, the rest of BBQ can't do anything. Now, that previous fight was obviously Temp getting caught out and a great shockwave out of Kuro, but so far, Afrika have enough tools to threaten BBQ so much, and they don't have enough damage to threaten elsewhere that Kog'Maw is not. And because he's so immobile, we reached a lull in the game, and they're just not capable of taking any fights that Afrika doesn't want to fight it.
So now this game totally turned on its head. Afrika about 3,000 gold in the lead. Gonna look for even more turrets to knock down to further their lead. Almost getting this bottom tier 2. Kramer just gonna step on up and pick that off. And still 2 minutes left on this Baron. Let's see, nobody's really brave enough to go up against Marin as finally Crazy comes up here. He's down 3 levels.
Still 2 minutes left, but still a Kog'Maw that can always be a big threat. He's level 15, so he's quite under-leveled, and as you're mentioning, so is pretty much everybody else on the side of BBQ, whereas Afrika have been having some great minion control, jungle control, that they just move back and forth, and with a couple of 1 fights, the team composition that doesn't need to group as often is unsurprisingly farther ahead in levels in every role, except the support.
Yeah. At least Totoro's keeping up, the true hero of BBQ.
Hey, but as a support, you just lane. You're like, actually, I'm not going to roam a lot. I'll just sit there and lane. When they look at the game, I'll be the same level.
Yeah, someday. Well, we might have a fight here as BBQ is thinking about defending, just trying to clear the wave as much as possible, but the cannon is still up and they just walk straight up on top of that. And it should be the inhibitor as well, as BBQ just gonna let this one go.
There's not much they can do. If they engage, Kog'Maw has to be dealing damage, otherwise it's all in vain. And if they don't engage, then Afrika does not have to worry about the damage from the front line. It's only Kog'Maw here. There's no mid lane threat. They're already tanky enough that they can just walk in here, and as long as Ghost isn't hitting anybody, they'll continually be aggressive.
I think they've got to fight this one. Are they just going to give up the double inhibitor? Crazy coming from bot. Looking for it. You can see Kramer is getting a little bit lower. Kuro with pretty low mana. Redemption is going to come in. This might give them the push to take out this inhibitor. Looks like it, as Kramer just going to hit that one down.
Not finding an opportunity to engage in there. It's Rek'Sai and Renekton that have to run straight at you, and it needs to be done in synergy with the Galio to come in. And all those keys, all those components of the composition that need to find and engage are also important to peel against Kog'Maw. And so the composition finds itself split in 2 fronts. Do you engage or do you peel? Well, the other team's choosing not to engage onto us, so our peeling strategies are not working too well.
Yeah, they might be able to fight a better fight here, as Afrika might be forced to engage on them.
I believe typically when China was running these compositions with the Kog'Maw, Kled was a big pick, but hold that thought, there's a teleport.
Yeah, Elder Drake down to about half health. Marin on this Jarvan, so scary as he enters the fight. The rest of BBQ forced to back away. For now. That Elder Drake going down extremely slow. Jarvan, that Marin still all alone up there fighting against essentially 2 of them. Tempt already down to half health. Marin and Mowgli now getting in there. The Drake is super low, trying to get that double knock on Marin though. He's taking a ton of damage, popping that stoveplate. He doesn't go down, and a huge wombo combo there from Afrika is going to take out the majority of the members. Ghost still in the back, still alive, trying to carry the team on his back. Can he actually do it? Marin's getting low, but it looks like it's not going to work out as everybody from Afrika survives, and Ghost, he's still too low. He's not able to get into the fight. The Elder Drake goes over to Afrika, and now this little butterfly, we'll see if he can run away, or at least try to delay this game, because there's not much time left.
Run like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Can he trade it? No, he goes down. And that's Elder Dragon, and that should be the end of the game for Afrika to come back in a Game 2 victory.
Yeah, it looks like it. A very tumultuous team fight there at the very end. Ghost almost did it, but not quite. They were too far behind, and Afrika will bring this to a game number 3.
It looked good in the start. Crazy. His fancy foot antics yielded first blood, dodged multiple ganks on his own. but in the end, Afrika, with superior team fighting, with superior shot calling, were able to walk away with some clean fights that we weren't truly sure what to expect when it all started. When the beginning was so in the favor of BBQ, like, oh, could Afrika go down 2-0? Well, they're not gonna go down without a fight, and that's exciting. And I kind of hate myself every time I say that, because I always try not to get excited for them, but then they give me a win, and it's like, it's just enough for me to want to keep going into it. They're playing mysterious. They're playing hard to get Afrika.
Yeah. They're pulling your heartstrings, man, as they do to pretty much everybody watching. And I think BBQ's going to have to go to the drawing board. They pulled a very different composition for game number 2 on the blue side. I doubt that Afrika gives them a lease on blue side for game 3, so we should see a very different game for game 3 as well.
I think so as well. I think that the Galley, if you want to draft that composition, you need to be incredibly proactive. And we're going to look at some of the first gank avoids from Crazy. He dodges out of the top set and then strolls down the river, goes down the path of least resistance to find an unsuspecting Kura just waiting, just eager to give some gold away. I got it in my pocket. Who wants it?
Give it over to the giant gargoyle. And this is a good play out of Afrika to set up this kill, this gank onto Temps, the 1v3, basically using everything that they possibly could against this guy in the mid lane.
And here's where BBQ started giving away their lead. They walked into a 2v3, by the way. This is what they're fancying. They're like, you know what, yeah, let's take the 2v3. Let's not try to go for any other significantly more successful or higher chance of success plays, and then some more random throws here and there. So in the end, it was BBQ's lack of composure in the face of a stoic Afrika that cost them the game. And another face check there from Afrika, from Crazy. I don't know if you can count that as a face check. I'm going to do it as well, because he walked into a brush and died right away.
Yeah, it kind of was. And this is what allowed them to take that.
He walked up there to get a Prey Seeker. He died for a Prey Seeker. He was like, I got a Prey Seeker this fat wave, otherwise it's not going to go down. No, you got to understand your role in a team. You got no business Prey Seeking anything.
Don't die. That's all he needed to do. He needed to keep a smite available so that Afrika could not take the Baron, but that was not the case. You guys can see the damage charts here and exactly how ahead Afrika was. It was a very action-packed game, even though it was only 16 kills in almost 40 minutes. 17 kills, rather. Math is hard.
We got to get better at math.
Yeah, definitely a project for the future. But guys, we are going to go to our last break of the night before we go into our last game of the night. Game 3 of BBQ Olivers versus the Afrika Freaks coming up next.